Hello, and welcome to our next edition of Webinar Wednesdays. Today we're going to cover a very important topic that can impact businesses small and large across virtually every industry in the marketplace today. We're going to be speaking about the power of online contesting and promotions. First, a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Billy. I'm a solution architect for Virginia Media, and I've been doing this marketing thing for over a decade. I've spent my time in radio, digital, print, strategy development, hospitality marketing, corporate events, concert production, and so much more. But across all of those, one major theme has been my involvement with contest management because of how important and impactful it can be for your business. And I'm so excited to share some of that with you today. So let's set the stage for what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be covering things like the benefits of online contesting, how to run your own contest if you'd like to, how to be successful on social media, a concept called partner marketing contests, and finally, some of the contesting options that Virginia Media offers. So let's dive in. First, a little bit of housekeeping. You have questions, we have answers. And we also recognize that today's webinar is not live, but we want you to know it doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from you. You can contact us directly through virginiamedia.com to send us your questions, or you can contact me. You're going to get my contact information at the very end of today's presentation. And then hopefully you've already got a representative that you're in contact with from Virginia Media that can answer questions or put you in contact with the right people. And if you don't, again, contact us or contact me directly. We will absolutely find the right partner for you and get you rolling. So first up, why consider contests? Contests come in a variety of different sizes and shapes, but the impact is undeniable. They can enhance your brand awareness. They can increase your website traffic. They can help you grow your email lists or expand your social media following. And they can definitely generate targeted leads. Now to start off, we want you to feel empowered. It's important that you know you absolutely can run your own contest. And like so many others, you probably want to turn to social media as your mechanism to launch that contest, which makes a lot of sense. Social media comes in a variety of different platforms and reaches a very, very wide audience. So go for it, launch your own contest. But first, make sure you have a plan in place for what that contest is going to do. It's like Richard Cushing said, always plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Contests absolutely can make it rain for your business, whether that be sales, customers, email signups, whatever your goal is, but you must have this plan so you don't wind up in a flood. The first step is to set your goals and budget. It's imperative that you have a clearly defined goal in mind when launching a contest. Are you just looking to get your brand out there? That's fine, very valuable. But maybe you're looking to get email signups, or you're trying to get website traffic. Those are all very specific goals, which can work hand in hand, but contests are designed in different ways to achieve different goals. So first, make sure you know what you're trying to achieve before you go live. And then obviously figure out what your budget is. There are costs that go along with contests, whether that be the prizes or the distribution or a variety of other things. So make sure you know what you can spend and what you want to achieve. The second thing you want to do is choose your prizes and a theme. You don't have to give away the farm just to get a like. Consider giving away your products or services, maybe another product related to your brand, or cash or gift cards aimed at converting the contestant into a customer. All great options. The theme is equally important. Maybe you're just going to do a theme that speaks to the products that you sell or your brand image. That's awesome. But maybe you're going to run one for an upcoming holiday. Father's Day is right around the corner. Doing a Father's Day centric contest may make a lot of sense for what you're trying to do. And then there's also themes that are just about the current moment in time we're living in, such as the COVID crisis that we're all experiencing right now. So make sure you've got the right theme that reflects what you're trying to achieve with that contest. Third, you're going to want to choose your platform and read up on their rules. You don't have to choose just one platform. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest all offer different audiences and benefits, and you can use multiple platforms at the same time to drive your contest. But it's important to make sure that you read up on the rules. Each one has its own governing rules that you need to make sure you're very aware of and understand clearly before going live and winding up in a heap of trouble. Number 4 is you've got to decide how long and how often you're going to run your contests. A contest must have a clear beginning and an end. You can't just put it out there and say, one day we're going to pick a winner. You have to tell the entrant when they have to get in to win, how long they've got to do it, so that they have a clear understanding of what's expected of them. Now, you don't want to run it too long, you don't want to run it too short, and that's going to have to be determined by you in terms of how much time you've got to run the contest and what you're trying to achieve. A good rule of thumb is to never run a contest shorter than a week unless you absolutely have to. You also don't want to run a contest over a series of months because people won't feel that sense of urgency to jump in. A good 1 to 2 week timeline is a great place to start. Then, once you've got your plan in place, it's time to launch, promote, and start engaging those entrants. Now, like I said in that last section, it's important to understand the rules of the platforms that you're going to run your social media contest on. Facebook's rules are different than Twitter's. Instagram's rules are different than Pinterest. They're all different, and they're all written in legalese. They're hard to understand, and there's a lot of different components that make them very complex, but you have to understand those rules before you go live, because if you run afoul of those rules, you can have your contest shut down, or there's a bunch of other issues that can pop up. Now, maybe you're like me and not a fan of legalese. Maybe you don't have the time to commit to really digesting and internalizing all of those various rules, and that creates some concern for you. Don't worry, we're happy to help on that. That's one place that Virginia Media can absolutely be that expert in your corner. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to explain any of those rules for you and really set you off down the right path. Now, the importance of rules doesn't just stop with the various sets of rules that govern all those different platforms that we talked about. You have to write your own rules too, and it's not nearly as much fun as it sounds like it should be. Everything has to be clear, all your I's dotted, all your T's crossed. You must absolutely, positively, irrefutably always have written rules that govern your contest. If you have one little thing that's not clear or can be taken out of context, everything else can be thrown off kilter. Now, like I said at the beginning, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have to admit, I have not been perfect every step of the way. So I've got a couple of stories for you based on my experience where I made a mistake and my partners made a mistake, and strangely enough, both stories involve Justin Bieber. Now, the first story I have was my mistake. I was running a contest giving away tickets to an upcoming concert for Justin Bieber. It was in a couple weeks, simple enough, just did an enter to win sweepstakes, nothing complicated, right? Well, the mistake I made was in the rules, I didn't clearly specify that you had to live within driving distance of the show in order to go. And unfortunately, somebody got a hold of it on social media 14 states away, entered the contest, and was initially drawn as a winner until we realized there was no way that they could make it in time to get the tickets and get to the show. Something as simple as just saying you have to live here in order to win would have saved me a world of hurt, because the winner was a 14-year-old girl. And that was very unfortunate because she was super upset, and she went on social media and her parents went on social media and they told everybody about it, and it took a while to clean that one up. So again, something so simple, so small could have made all the difference. Now, the second story was not a mistake that I made. It was actually made by some of my colleagues in a different market, but it was on the same tour for Justin Bieber. Now, they were giving away tickets, but they also got their hands on 100 t-shirts. That number 100 is super important. And they said, okay, we're giving away tickets, but we're also going to give away these t-shirts. Super easy to win them. All you've got to do is come find us. And they left a series of clues on where they could be found on a certain date at a certain time. And they said, first come, first serve. When we're out of shirts, we're out of shirts. Now, the problem was, well, first one, I guess, was that they didn't make the clues hard enough to figure out. It was pretty easy to figure out where to find them and get your shirt. The second thing was they didn't explain what first come, first served meant. They also didn't explain that they only had 100 t-shirts. And by the time they arrived on site to start the giveaway, there were over 600 people waiting in that mall parking lot trying to get their own shirt. This team was so overwhelmed by the demand and all of that just massive people there trying to get their shirts, they wound up literally just throwing the box out into the crowd and driving away. Again, a couple of missteps. Figure out your contest. Explain everything along the way so you don't wind up with unhappy contestants, because they will absolutely go online and share their negative experience, and it can really impact not only your contest, but negatively impact your brand. So now that we've talked about rules a lot, let's talk about tips, tricks, and best practices. First, obviously, pick out which of those platforms you want to run on, whether that's Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram or Twitter, and maybe which ones you can work together with and really push your contest out very strongly. You're probably going to turn to Facebook first and most often because it is the big one. It's the one everybody's on. It's also the one that has probably the largest set of capabilities, but it can also be the one that's the most difficult to navigate. With Facebook, the first step is make sure you're legally compliant. And that's not just about the rules that Facebook has. It's also about those state, local, or federal laws and restrictions and governing guidelines that you have to make sure you're following to a T so you don't get in trouble with the law. Facebook's not going to help with that. You are totally on your own, right? So make sure you know what rules you're up against both with Facebook and nationally so you don't get in trouble. Now, it goes a step further with Facebook because you also have to obtain a full release from every single contestant, especially the winners, the ones that say, I will not hold Facebook liable at all for anything that goes wrong in the contest. Facebook is not responsible for anything. And that's on you to make sure you're getting every single time from every single contestant. You also cannot require that people share the post on their timeline or their friend's timeline or tag their friends by name. Facebook restricts you from being able to use and mandate the use of personal accounts, personal timelines in order to push out your contest. Does that mean that they can't share it or they can't tag their friends? No, and we love it when that happens. You simply cannot require that they have to do those things in order to enter the contest. Now, you do want to ask contestants to like the post or comment on the post or like comments on this post. It's a great way. Again, it still encourages some virality and some sharing, but it's the way to do it and still be in compliance with Facebook's. Now, you can also ask and should ask your users to post on your timeline or to message your brand directly through your Facebook page. That's totally cool. Now, on Pinterest, remember that Pinterest, like Instagram, is a very visually driven platform. It's a great one, though, even though it's a little bit more limited than some of its others. It's also a great place to go, especially if you're reaching out to a female-driven audience. But on Pinterest, the first thing is to make sure that your contest is easy to enter. Pinterest doesn't have as wide of a set of capabilities, so you have to make sure your steps to enter are clear, easy to understand, and also easy to follow. Then you want to make sure that your contest is visually appealing. Knowing that Pinterest is a visually based platform, your graphic has to stand out. The competition there to grab those eyeballs is very, very strong. Then you want to make sure your prize is appealing. That goes without saying. And then in terms of getting additional shares, Pinterest makes it a little bit easier because there you can ask for them to repin your post, your contest on their own board. And it's totally fine to do, and you absolutely should do it every single time. You also want to ask for contestants to create boards. That's a great way of them creating their own little micro community for people to engage not only with their content, but ultimately your contest. You want to make sure that your images are mobile friendly. The majority of traffic to Pinterest is coming on mobile devices. So if your graphic only works on a desktop, it's not going to be nearly as appealing on a phone. Then you also probably, because Pinterest does have a smaller audience set, want to cross-promote your contest through Facebook, Twitter, and your website, providing links back over to Pinterest if that's the home base, if you will, for your contest. Instagram, sticking with these visually kind of driven platforms, is a great option and has a huge audience that you can reach there. Now, you always want to use a branded contest, and what I mean by that is you want to make sure that it's got your business's name in the title of the contest that's linked over to you, so that when it does get shared out or gets interacted with or gets liked, that's ultimately going to filter back up to your brand's ultimate profile on Instagram. You also want to make sure that your contest graphic is awesome. It's probably even more important on Instagram than it was on Pinterest because that's where the best images are, it's where the best photographers turn, that's where the best brands with really visually appealing products go to play. You want to ask contestants to post a photo and tag your brand. Again, every time they do that and they tag you, your brand gets pushed out in front of their audience members and the sharing just takes you so much farther. Now on Instagram too, because attention spans can get shorter, you don't want to require too many steps to enter. Make sure that they're very tight and easily followed. You also want to run shorter contests on Instagram, again, because of the shorter attention spans of the usability on Instagram. So a 3 to 5 day contest is probably your ideal piece there. You don't want to run it over the course of a month, and honestly, 2 weeks might be a little bit too long. You also want to allow public voting simply by, encouraging share this out, share your photo, and then encourage your followers and their followers to then, get hearts on the little like icon for their post. And you can take a good inventory of how many likes each entrant got. But keep in mind, again, it's all about getting your brand in front of additional eyeballs. So every time they get that little heart symbol that shows up, somebody not only has liked their content, but they've essentially affiliated your brand with the content that they liked, and that's only going to cause brand lift. You also want to update your profile to include details about your contest. On every Instagram profile, there's a little description that you can edit whenever you want to at the very top. And it's very important to understand that a lot of people on Instagram, again, going back to that shorter attention span, may not go all the way down into your feed. And if you're posting regularly, your contest can wind up farther towards the bottom of your feed. So by including details about the contest you're currently running right there in the description, which is the first thing people will see when they come onto your profile, you'll make sure that you get the most amount of exposure for your contest that you can possibly get. Then there's Twitter. Twitter is a very attractive platform. Again, a little bit more limited, but obviously huge, huge audience. There's a lot of great things you can do with it. On Twitter, unlike Facebook, you can ask for them to use their personal profiles. Ask them to retweet your post, retweet your contest, and also give your profile a follow. Ultimately, the biggest and most important thing on Twitter is how many followers do you have. Contests are a great way to expand that. You also want to make sure you get your hashtags ready. Hashtags really began with Twitter, or at least began to gain the popularity that they have now on Twitter. Hashtags are a great way to categorize and put content into various buckets that people may be searching, and people nowadays are trained to look for the hashtags that fit what they're looking for. You can also use Twitter to drive traffic to your website. The way to do that is to set up an enter to win form on your website and then link to your website and that specific landing page from your Twitter account and the tweet about your contest. If you don't know how to do that on your website, maybe you don't have one or you don't have a landing page or know how to set up that enter to win form, it's another great way that Virginia Media can help. Just reach out. We'll be glad to get you going. You also want to encourage entrants to reply using your hashtags. It's a great way to ask a question and get an answer. Like, what are you doing tonight? What are you looking forward to most about summer? What are you planning to get your father for Father's Day? And make sure you got those branded hashtags in there again, super important, because when you get those responses back from the audience, not only are you learning about your contestants and about your audience, but again, hashtags will keep your content in the right buckets, and again, will drive more eyeballs back to your brand. You can also use Twitter for photo contests, asking them to tweet a photo in response to your contest within the rules. But again, make sure you've got those hashtags. Make sure that they are mentioning your brand with that little @ symbol in front of your name. That way, all of the content, all of their entries are easy to find, easy to categorize, and again, are pushing your brand out in front of as many eyeballs as possible. Now, we've talked about a lot, and I know it can seem overwhelming. But I want you to know you don't have to go it alone. And no, right now I'm not talking about Virginia Media. I'm talking about a concept called partnered contest marketing. Partnering up with other brands to run cooperative marketing contests is a great way to tap into a larger audience than the one you've got right now. Think about it this way. When two brands come together as one and they push out a contest at the same time, their audience is going to see it, but so will yours if you're the other partner in that scheme. So you're instantly starting off with at least an audience that's double the size of what you would have had otherwise. Maybe it's larger. So who do you partner with? Consider the businesses that you work with frequently. We've all got friends in the business community, and I'm sure there's people that are going to want to work with you. Maybe you just don't have those kind of connections. So think then about the products that complement the ones you sell, because partner marketing can do a couple of different things. You can come together and split the cost of marketing. You can come together and split the cost of administration. You can also just do it in such a way that one partner steps up and handles the cost of distribution, while maybe the other provides a prize that matches the investment of partner number one. Essentially, though, the important thing to understand is regardless of the model that you use in a partnered contest, as long as both sides of the partnership are promoting the contest to their audiences, everybody benefits. All right, I get it. We've talked about a lot today. There's been a lot of information. We've gone over a bunch because there's so much that goes into running contests correctly. And maybe you're sitting there right now and you're like, finding a partner sounds fun, but I'm not sure that makes it any less scary. Right now, you might be thinking that this seems overwhelming. That's understandable, and you're right. Contests seem simple to the contestant. Behind the scenes, it's a very different story. At Virginia Media, we're here to help, and I want to make sure that that's clear, and I say that again and again and again. We're here to help. We offer several types of contests that, of course, we'll build and run and manage for you, but we offer a lot more than that. We offer the compliance services. We'll make sure that you don't run afoul of any laws or the regulations that Facebook has or Twitter has, but we'll also help you write your own rules. We have the legal team in-house. We have the digital experts, the social media experts, the contest experts to make sure that it runs smoothly and you're compliant and you don't wind up in one of those Justin Bieber moments like I described earlier. Then we also offer the distribution services that make it turnkey for your brand to push out this contest to a very wide but targeted audience that definitely reflects the ideal customer that you're looking to engage with. The first type of contest that we offer is a sweepstakes. We've all seen them. We all know what they are. Just get in to win, right? They're a great way to grow your email list because in that entry form, you can give the user a chance to say, yeah, I would like to hear from you again as a brand. You can definitely reach a broad but focused audience like I talked about a minute ago because it's a low barrier to entry. It's easy enough to get in to win. I just have to give them my name, my email address, maybe answer a question. Well, that question can also be really powerful too, because I guarantee you as a brand definitely have some questions that you've been looking for answers for a while. How is my brand perceived in the marketplace? What do people like about my product? What do they not like about my product? Why are they choosing my competitor sometimes? Well, sweepstakes and the ability to put in one or two questions can make a very engaging platform to get those answers and really set you up for success in terms of optimizing your business model and reaching and bringing in more customers to purchase your product or services down the road. Quizzes also offer a similar kind of functionality in the sense that obviously they're built on questions. You can definitely learn more about your customers. But they're also a great way to educate your audience and put your brand front and center as the one giving them what they're looking for. They're perfect for promotion on social media, and you've probably seen most quizzes that exist on social media. They're just perfect. It's like their natural habitat. For instance, some of you may be sitting here today and thinking, I know exactly what Marvel superhero I am. Or maybe you know what type of houseplant you are. I don't know. That's because there's so many different personality quizzes out there in the market today, and they're so much fun and so easy to engage with. That's why they work. There's also sponsored quizzes. Maybe you don't know exactly what questions you're trying to answer and you're just trying to grow a database. Well, we've got plenty of templates that we can share with you that are built around various topics. Then there's current event focused quizzes. So this is really where we go back to that whole educating your audience piece that I mentioned in bullet number 2. Think about the current COVID-19 moment that we're in. And I want to ask you a question. Are you certain that you're washing your hands the right way? Do you really know what these upcoming phases of reopening the market are and what they entail? Well, if you said no, then you can pretty much be sure that your members of your audience probably don't have all the answers either. By running these quizzes, and we can help you with that content, you not only get the information you're looking for about your audience, about your customers, but your brand becomes the one giving them the answers that they're desperately looking for, and that's incredibly powerful. The third option is a photo contest. Now, photo contests have been around for a while, and they existed well before the internet, and that's because people love to share their pictures. They love to share their videos, and they love to share their experiences. America's Funniest Home Videos is built on that premise, right? Well, imagine then that if people just want to share their pictures or stuff, imagine how much more powerful it can be when you have a picture of your cute kid and you throw them into a cutest kids contest and you see them in a gallery up against other cute kids and you can believe that yours is the cutest only to be reaffirmed at the end that yes, my kid is the cutest because I won. Super powerful, right? And because a lot of times these become voting based contests, people will wind up sharing this contest out and asking for people to vote, asking for people to like. And every time they share that contest, they're sharing your brand right along with it and expanding the audience that you're reaching every single time. They're also easy enough to enter. There's a low barrier to entry. Send me your content, give me your name, you're in to win. We'll see how it goes. You can also, just like we could with any of the others, drive traffic through digital display, social media advertising, or email promotion. And notice there's one other bullet that I didn't talk about under each contest type, and that's about gaining brand lift by aligning with us. Especially here in Hampton Roads, our publications, the Daily Press, the Virginia Pilot, Distinction Magazine, so many others are known, trusted, and respected by our neighbors here in Hampton Roads. So by placing, just like we talked about with the partnered contest marketing concept, by placing your brand and your contest alongside our known publications, there's going to be a sense of trust that comes with that. People will know and feel much more comfortable that this contest is going to work, and it's going to work the way I expect it to, and I'm going to get a fair shake at winning this prize, because you get that added brand lift that comes from affiliating your brand with ours. Now, before we get done, I wanted to share one recent example. This is one we did. We did it here in Hampton Roads. It was actually a partnered marketing contest that was run as a sweepstakes. We did it for a national retailer and a national beverage brand. And we gave away a variety of prizes, but that also, the grand prize rather, was a meet and greet with a very, very well-known professional athlete. Now, if you think about the timeline that we talked about earlier about how long do you run a contest, one like this with such a big prize and such big advertisers behind it, I personally would want to run for that 2 weeks, right? That would be ideal for me, because this is going to have major appeal, and we want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible, and we want to get as many people into the contest as possible. But unfortunately, because we were dealing with a professional athlete, we didn't know until the last minute that we had all our ducks in a row. We were behind timeline because we were waiting on confirmations from their camp. So we had to launch, and it was a much shorter run than we typically would want to do. In just about 5 days, though, we drove almost 200 entries where people filled out the entire form. And each one of those answered the custom research question the client asked us to include in the form. So great information coming out of local residents. 666 people visited the contest page, so every time that they went, they saw all the sponsor logos, they saw all the content, all the verbiage. So that's a lot of eyeballs in a very short amount of time on these very important brands. But more than that, over 6,600 people engaged with our promotional email, meaning that they opened it. And when they opened it, what were they confronted with? Not only the opportunity to enter to win, but also all the brands of the sponsors that were driving this contest. And ultimately, we drove an additional 320 people from the contest page into the sponsor's website. Lots of great traffic right through the front door. Okay, so that leaves really one question. What next? What's the next move? Well, here's a few places you can start. The first one is to get familiar with social media contest rules. Like I said, you can reach out to us. We'll be glad to walk you through them, get you set up with all the information you need, and not only provide you with those rules, but actually spend some time talking and explaining them if you've got questions or concerns or something is just a little bit confusing. But it's really important that we start with understanding the rules that will drive that contest. The second thing you should do, analyze your products and services for possible prizes. Figure out what you can give away, what people might want. Think about what products right now you're really trying to push. Where would you like to see growth? Remember that contests, because of the fact people are entering them, they're entering them to win a prize. So if they're trying to win a particular prize, they're going to be focused on what that prize is. So we really want to drive not only your brand awareness, but also awareness about a particular product or service. Making that the prize is going to guarantee that you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on that product and really expand the awareness of it and drive a lot of interest. The third thing I want you to do is go enter some contests. And that may sound funny but it's not just about trying to win some prizes. It's also about getting some ideas. There's lots of great ideas out there, and it's been said a bunch of times that there's nothing new under the sun. I personally don't agree with that, especially when it comes to marketing. But I do believe that greatness provides inspiration, and there's a lot of great contests out there. So go search for them, enter to win. Maybe you do win, but at the very least, I can guarantee you're going to walk away with some ideas that may drive what your company's next contest looks like and what the theme might be or the prize, etc. And then lastly, as I've said multiple times throughout this, we're here to help. If you feel like you would like some professional expertise, if you need help, it does seem overwhelming, reach out to us. We would love to work with you. We would love to take your brand, push it out to a very wide and targeted audience, and make sure that your contest runs smoothly, but gets the amount of entries that it absolutely deserves to make a difference for your business. So with that, we're done. Like I said, my name is Billy Garland. I'm a solution architect for Virginia Media. I'm really thankful that you chose to spend some time with me today and learn about contests because, as you can tell, I'm super passionate about what they can do for your business. So again, contact us through the website. Feel free to reach out to me. There's my contact information on the screen right now. I'll be happy to spend some time with you. Make sure that you get hooked up with the people that can really make a difference and get your contest off the ground. Otherwise, stay well, and we'll talk soon.